It's leading one of the major public institutions here in Chile, which has a reach, an international reach. And it's very interesting to get the opportunity to have her insights, her experience, and of course, answer all the Q&As, all the questions that you might have, as always. Remember, Steve Lyle is gonna be in charge of capturing all the questions that you're gonna drop there in the chat box. And at the end of the session, we're gonna have the opportunity to ask and clarify all the doubts, the questions, the comments that you have. So, because remember, this is a conversation. It's important to address all the relevant issues according to your industry, all the doubts that you might have regarding raising capital, regarding applying to public lines and so forth. So Maria Los Angeles, thank you so much for being here today with us. And it's a privilege to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for, actually, it's an honor for me to be here today. And I'm gonna try to share with you some ideas, some thoughts about entrepreneurship and startups, and obviously about Startup Chile and what we have been doing in the country. I would like to share with you a presentation. Can you see now the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Looks great.
I'm trying to, okay. Great, so let's start. First of all, I would like to talk a little bit about the startups and why startups. And the first question here is, why should everyone be paying attention to this kind of companies? Why this is relevant, not only in Chile, but also in the rest of the world? First of all, because we used to talk a little bit about high impact entrepreneurs can change the world. And actually, what I really believe is everyone should understand that it is a fact and not only my opinion or our opinion. So this is important because basically in the world, I would like to tell you, we have something like 65 million registered companies in the whole world. So if each company hires 3 employees, probably the problem that the current problem of unemployment could be solved. What is the problem in fact is here we have basically the structure of the companies in the world. Even we have 65 million companies, we have 59 million of these companies, micro companies, which is in average 1.39 employees. Also, we have 6 million of small and medium enterprise, which in average, they used to have 35 employees. And actually, at the end of the slide, we have something like 2,000 companies, big companies, that in an average, they used to have 1,250 employees. Why is this important for the startup or for the entrepreneurship? Because the 99.7% of all the companies in the world used to have, in average, less than 35 employees. And besides that, we have here that this small number of companies used to support or to have 55% of the total revenues in the world as well. And why this is important? Basically because what we have here is we have a positive correlation between the growth of the firms and the GDP per country. So if you have a big number or a maximum number of big companies or large companies by million people, what we really have is a better GDP per capita. So this is not only a fashion when we used to talk about companies and big companies. It's basically because what we are looking for is how our countries, how Chile, for example, or the region, used to have a much more GDP per capita. So the one way to have that is probably to be focused on how we can support the entrepreneurs and the cycle that they used to live in between the micro company until the large company. So this is what we are showing here. Some countries like Germany, United States, France, Denmark used to have a major number of big companies or large company, And at the same time, they used to have a bigger GDP per capita. And on the other hand, what we used to have in this side of the slide is countries like Turkey, Brazil, Mexico, Vietnam used to have a less or lesser number of large companies. What is used usually have a lesser GDP per capita as well. So the probably the big challenge here is how we can support and push this kind of startup. Why? Because they are capable of solving the unemployment. Second, because they can boost the country's competitiveness. Also because they can change society behavior. And also because they are capable of exponential growth potential. And finally, because they used to have or used to do a big contribution to the GDP in each single country. So what is Startup Chile? Who are we or who we are? The Startup Chile is an accelerator. We boost great founders because we understand and we really do believe they drive LATAM, from Chile to LATAM. And if we think a little bit about the year 2010, in Chile, we had a particular year at the story, basically because the economy and the social crisis was massive another year. First of all, we have a global financial crisis, and also because we had one of the strongest earthquakes in the history. And who was in charge of this revolution in the business and in the economy? Well, was the tech entrepreneurs founding startups. Why? Well, basically what we have here is in the year 2010, we start with Startup Chile. And before then that, we had Chile was better known for the mining, the salmon, and the wine industry. No value, add value to the industry. We had no culture of entrepreneurship, neither innovation, and the country was looking for entrepreneurs and innovators to have a change for the economy and for the moment that we were living on. So Startup Chile, what they do was basically, first of all, was a mindset revolution for the local country, because what we did was to attract global talent to the local country and start from them thinking in a new country or a new ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Basically, we embrace technologies and innovation, and we start speaking about entrepreneurship, innovation, startups, and why the startups or this kind of company were really important for our country, and not only for the country, but also for the region. And finally, what's really important in that moment, how the venture capital industry in Chile was start growing faster in the local system, and in association like ACAFI or ACBC start doing a big job about the industry as well. So disruption is in our DNA. We try to push the ecosystem, the local ecosystem, but not only for the local ecosystem, but also for the regional ecosystem and probably for the world. We are nowadays the first public accelerator of the world. Actually, we have more than 30 other nations replicated the public policy in Chile. Countries like Peru, Brazil, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Malaysia, and Korea del Sur was looking for how we were doing to start replicating the model of the public policy in this country. What we do? Well, actually, we accelerated startups to reach the high impact and success sooner than later in the LATAM market. How? First, giving them equity or resources. First of all, is resources for them, equity-free funding, free co-work space, and exclusive perks for deal. Secondly, acceleration. What is this? Startup Chile used to give them support, strategic support to the startups through boards or platoons, which is conversation peer-to-peers. We have a Startup Chile Academy. We try to give them capabilities or formation. We have expert office of ours, And actually we have pitch training for them because we know this kind of support, we can support them not only into think how the company need to create, but also how the companies can be consolidated and expanding in the local and in the global market. Third, we give them connections. Basically, we connect entrepreneurs and startups with corporate partners, with venture capitals, with universities, with government, and with the mentors. In Chile, just for you to know, the connections are not really simple. Probably you have a close ecosystem or relationship or a network, but not only people, not all the entrepreneurs can access to the whole networks in the country. So we can do it for them is connect and give them access to the corporate partners in all of them. Basically, we give them, we have now more than 2,000 volunteers as mentors. We have 180 corporate and government partners, which is a channel or a way for the entrepreneurs to give them solution for their problems. We have more than 100 worldwide partners. We have more than 4,000 entrepreneurs from around the world. We have also investors from Chile and now for the rest of the region as well. The number 4 is we try to give them soft landing facilities to arrive and to get into the local ecosystem in Chile. We give them one year working visa, what complement throughout the process, because probably for you is clear, it's not really easy to arrive to Chile and actually to give all the permissions for a stay and start a new company. And we give them the opportunity to open a bank account for them to start working immediately when they arrive to the country. And finally, which is really important for all of us, is give them the access to the community. Who is the community? The rest of startups, but also more than 5,000 entrepreneurs in Chile and from around the world, because alumni, some of them get back to the countries. So we give them the access to this whole community. So this is the structure of the offer of Startup Chile. We try to support not only the starting of the company, but only the consolidation and also the expansion of the company through giving them resources, acceleration, connections, soft landing, and community. So what we have today is an strengthening our platform basis in 3 pillars: attracting specialized human capital to the local ecosystem. Secondly, pushing our entrepreneurs or startups to the new markets. And finally, supporting by private resources through investment fund, business angels, and etc. We are absolutely agnostic to the industry. We're not looking for a specific industries or a specific solution for a specific industry. We are absolutely open. We are looking for technology to support or to resolve a problem in the whole industry. And actually, we are absolutely agnostic as well to nationalities. People from around the world is coming to Chile through a Startup Chile program. We love that because the heart or the core of Startup Chile is attract talent, global talent, to mix with local talent as well, and to create a much better ecosystem as well. We actually really believe in the great ideas to boost Chile's economy, and we believe in great ideas that will thrive in Latin America. This is our focus. This is what we are looking for, and that is what we are pushing to. How is our impact? Just for you to know a little bit about the program, we have supported plus than 2,000 startups. 72% of this kind of company or these companies are foreign startups, people coming from the world to start their companies in Chile. 27% so is Chilean startups. And nowadays we have more than 5,000 alumni or entrepreneurs in Chile or in around the world. Basically, we receive entrepreneurs from the world from Chile, obviously, but also from United States, Argentina, India, and Brazil. The survival rates in the portfolio is something like 47%, much more from Chile than in the world. But basically, almost the 50% of the companies arriving to Startup Chile stay in the way of creating or to continue their companies. Our founders are capable to have global sales in order to this number. And also they have raised capital around the world. And also we have a very interested valuation for the portfolio. Companies used to raise money through the process, and we used to have this kind of valuation, I mean, real valuation in real rounds or raising investment or rounds money. And we have this number of valuation for the portfolio. What I'm trying to show you here is this is not a program to accelerate companies, but also we are looking for how we can impact. We are looking for that these entrepreneurs make a difference in the ecosystem. How? Trying to give them much more sales, but also raising capital and also giving employment in the country and in the region. This is the portfolio evaluation, and this is the number of ponies and unicorns that we have in the program of Startup Chile. We have one unicorn, which have a valuation of plus $1 billion, but also we are working on this kind of ponies, how we can support these companies to become a unicorn as well. And actually we have had some exits through the acquisition. 6 of these companies were acquired for big companies in Chile or in the region as well. And finally, jobs creation, which is really important not only for Startup Chile, but also for the government of Chile. And we have created more than 40,000 new employment in the country and in the region, which is really important because it's part of what we are looking for through the program as well. Finally, the rate of retention, which is really important. More than the 70% of the companies arriving to Chile decide to stay longer in Chile as well, which is really interesting because we realize with this number that Chile is probably a really good hub of entrepreneurship. It's a good place to start your company, but not only to start your company, but also to consolidate this company for the region. And this number show us that the entrepreneurs prefer to stay longer in Chile because they have new opportunities for consolidate their companies as well. And in terms of public policy impact, well, actually what we used to show is as we have or we are supporting companies, these companies grow and this company in the growing stay having sales, they used to pay by taxes the public policy. So if you see this slide, you can see that the Startup Chile total investment in the 10 years has been something like $58 million. But how much these entrepreneurs have paid through taxes is something around $61 million as well. So as or from the point of view as a public policy impact, this is really important because the entrepreneurs is paying in the time the total investment of the government of Chile as well. And actually, if you can see how is the rates that we have in the program, you can see that we have 22 times the investment made by Startup Chile, 5.5 times the investment made by Startup Chile in terms of the sales, and actually 1.5 expenditure is fully covered in taxes paid. So what is the invitation? Why I would like to show or to share with you some thoughts about entrepreneurship and startup, because I would like to invite all of you to be part of Startup Chile as well. This is a movement. This is something which is happening in Chile, but not only in Chile, but also in the region as well. And the invitation is this: we are looking for new startups to accelerate. We are all the time looking for new entrepreneurs, new tech entrepreneurs, new startups, because we really believe that you entrepreneurs are responsible for doing something bigger for this country, for the region. And if we have a good program to support you, we want to have you in our program as well. So what we are looking for tech-based companies, innovation, scalability, and obviously we are looking for impact. Our programs are basically three. We are looking for entrepreneurs in the very early stage, in the stage of an idea. The program here, we used to finance 60 startups a year. We used to give them in the grant structure something like $19,000. After that, we have the Ignite, the second program, which is looking for to support you if you already have some prototype or MVP, or you are in the validation period. And finally, we are looking for entrepreneurs that already are looking for how to consolidate or scale the sales, or looking for to be or to become a 1 million company as well. So we are looking for entrepreneurs in the different stages of the chain, if you want, in the very early stage, in the idea stage, but also in the prototype and in the scaling sales. And through all the program, we have the female founder factor, which is looking for women to be part of each of this program, because we realize that the female founder factor in every single program is huge, is enormous, and we are looking for how can mix also entrepreneurs, women and men. So just a little bit more information about each program. The first one is BUILD. It's a pre-acceleration program looking for entrepreneurs in the very early stage of the startup. We give them, we are looking for at least 50% of this program, the companies led by female founders. The second one is Ignite. The Ignite program is looking for to accelerate. It's an acceleration program, looking for a startup with a functional product and early validation. And the third one is Growth, which is looking for entrepreneurs in the scale moment or the scale stage. This is a program for the expansion of consolidated innovative tech-based business as well. So what we have now, and we are really proud about this, Startup Chile has one of the biggest portfolio of startups in the world. And what we have today is try to share these startups or entrepreneurs with the local ecosystem, with the global ecosystem, try to have or to create a big change for the world. Some cases that probably you already recognize. The first is Not Company. This is a Chilean startup with the highest investment round in the country's history. They have raised more than $85 million. Now is more than 100. And Not Company is a food tech company that uses artificial intelligence to discover plants that taste good, replacing the animal basis. But also we have companies like Recorrido and Cabify and Cargox, and actually you probably are thinking about Cabify. Cabify arrived to Chile and arrived to the region, I mean the Latam region, through Startup Chile, and this is the first one unicorn that I talked to you before. We have companies like Instacrops and Simply Root, which this last one with operation in 5 countries, for example, in Latin America, and having recently an investment in Series A round of $2 million. We have good ones like Cloudworks or Be Pretty, and actually the Live Green Company and Bifidice. We have Baby Tuto, which is a startup with the highest amount of sales founded by a woman. Baby Tuto, for you to know, is a company that accompanies parents through the development of their babies, providing them personalized experience of relevant information, products, and services for the babies. And Lab4U, that probably you already know. This is from seed. Lab4U is one of the startups with the highest amount of capital raising by a woman. So we have a lot of cases. We are really proud about how the companies are changing the world and changing the economies. We really believe, and you as entrepreneurs can do it. And we are absolutely open to receive entrepreneurs from the whole world to support you in the way that we can do it, and to help or push you and do your best. We try to do our best for you to create and consolidate your business for Chile, and not only for Chile, but also for the complete region. So thank you very much for attending this lecture. Happy to receive your questions, and I'm happy overall to receive all of you in Chile starting your own company.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maria Los Angeles, for this insight. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people who are from Cambridge or from abroad maybe don't have all the information regarding the ecosystem we got here locally, which has an international reach. So maybe, Steve, if you agree, we can capture some of the questions. I don't know if Maria Los Angeles can stay till the end. I'm pretty sure that your agenda is very tight, so I don't want to steal you more time from you. So maybe we can ask some of the questions now. We already got Luis Felipe waiting for the second portion of the conversation, but maybe Steve, if we can capture some of them now, would be great, just in case.
Yeah. So here's one that I see just posted. I have a couple myself. It looks like it might actually just, sorry about that. Looks like it might just actually be a comment. Interesting presentation. Interesting to see the high succession for startups here in Chile. What are the main reasons for why you are so successful, compared to other startup organizations in other parts of the world? So it's really kind of a success question. What's the key to your success? It cites a statistic here that more than 50, you have like a 53% survival rate. What do you attribute that to? That is pretty rare, I have to say.
Well, thank you very much for the question as well. What I guess we are really focused on do this, and we try to do the best. And what we really have, which is really good for the program, is big. I guess we have two things that I think is important. First of all, we have a good community, not only in Chile, but also in the region and in the world. So the access for your community, or for this big community, is good for you, because can give you access to different kind of things for your needs. And the secondly, I guess is good for us to track everything, to measure everything. And what we try to do is try to identify companies that are doing well, and we support them in the way that the company needs to be supported. I mean, it's a very tailor-made program, if you want, in some sense, because it's very massive, actually. And actually, what I guess is important is the recognition that Startup Chile has in the world, which is a very habilitator of opening new doors for you to create or consolidate your companies. If a Startup Chile knock a door in the world, I mean, raising capital, having new contacts, or etc., we used to have an answer about that, and we give them this power to the entrepreneur for you to create and to consolidate your companies.
Thanks so much. I have a question. I'm really curious, as an outside investor, what are the hot sectors? I know you don't have preference for sectors, but as you look at 10,000 feet, you look down, what seem to be the hot sectors to you right now?
Well, right now, I would like to say that probably the main sector we are see is according to the pandemic situation and crisis that we are living to. Uh, because probably the worldwide entrepreneurs are very quick and move very quick, they're used to have a solution for new opportunities and new problems. They used to solve this problem. And actually what we used to see now is companies to have better culture or sports and communication and education and etc. So I guess all the time we used to have entrepreneurs very focused on opportunities and in the moment and reacting to that opportunities as well. In the long time, I would like to say that in Chile, the companies or the industries, if you want, that we used to have our technologies solving problem is in mining and salmon industry, in winery, technology, in general terms, and education. So I guess it is because that is the main problems that we have as a country, and probably for that reason we used to have that kind of solution as well.
Cool, thank you. One of the questions. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Steve, sorry. Thanks a lot, Mario Sanchez, for your presentation. Quite interesting and inspiring. I have a quick question regarding which would be the main reasons behind the difference between the survival rate between Chilean startups and the foreign startups coming to the Startup Chile program?
So what question? I guess, or at least the information or the confidence that we have from the entrepreneurs is the entrepreneurs in Chile are much more reluctant to die the company. You know, they do prefer to continue even they realize that the company is not coming or is not doing well. The foreign entrepreneurs used to decide to stop the company and to restart a new company or a new entrepreneurship quickly. You know, they do prefer to say, okay, this is not going in any way, so I do prefer to stop the company, to break down the company, and to start a new company if they want. And probably, I guess this is much more cultural that I would like to have. And I guess this is a problem for our culture or our ecosystem. We used to have companies in a long time without resources, and this is a problem for us. And we have a lot to learn from the foreign entrepreneurs doing this kind of action from their companies as well.
Thank you. One other question: the acceptance rate. Do you have? You may have said this before, but somebody asked. Francisco asked about, you know, what's the acceptance rate of all the applications you get for early stage financing?
Sorry, once again the question. I didn't understand.
The acceptance rate, you know, for early stage, you get a lot of applications. How many do you get, ballpark, and what's the acceptance rate?
Okay, we used to receive once a year in the very early stage. We used to receive something like 60 companies or entrepreneurs. We used to receive this number, and I would like to say that they used to continue in the next in the follow stage as well. I mean, they used to start with the first companies, and they can follow and continue with the second stage or second program as the bill, and after that the seed, and after that the growth, more or less.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions?
I think since we already got the second presenter, we can get started with the second portion of the conversation.
Okay.
And if Maria de Los
Thanks so
Angeles can stay till the end of the session, that'd be amazing, because I'm pretty sure that there are more questions. I'm looking here at the list and we have a couple more, but since we already got Luis here representing CORFO, CORFO, for you who don't know, is the Chilean Economic Development Agency that, well, basically helps the ecosystem boost and grow beyond its boundaries. So it's a privilege also to have Luis here with us today. And thank you so much for making the time to clarify all the doubts that the audience might have regarding CORFO's role. So thank you so much, Luis.
Thanks to you for the invitation. I want to show a presentation. I don't know if let me see. Just give me a second to share. Okay. So let me know if you are seeing the presentation.
Yep.
Yep.
That's great.
Okay, great. First of all, again, thank you for the invitation to show the efforts of CORFO to develop the venture capital industry. First of all, some words about CORFO. CORFO is the National Economic Development Agency here in Chile, with a focus on innovation, entrepreneurship, and competitiveness. Clearly, one of the issues of those innovative projects and entrepreneurship is the access to finance. Based on the international experience, we found out that the venture capital funds are playing an important role in funding those innovative projects, because they are providing what it's called the smart money. They not only provide financial resources, but also knowledge and management that are important for the development of the entrepreneurship. Also, the venture capital funds has an adequate alignment of incentives. The return of the funds increase as long as the value of the company increases also. And that's why we from CORFO have implemented different programs to support the venture capital industry for more than 20 years. How our programs work? First, we provide a credit line to the fund to complement the money coming from a private investor in different relation. From one-to-one means $1 of credit of CORFO by $1 of credit of private investor, up to 3-to-1, $3 of CORFO by each dollar of a private investor. With all that amount, I mean the credit line plus the money coming from private investor, the fund manager invests afterwards in a different entrepreneurship. CORFO doesn't, we are not involved in the investment decision. There are certain rules that the entrepreneur or the investment needs to comply with that are in the documents of our programs, but we are not, and I want to be clear on that we are not involved in the investment process. It's a matter of the fund and the fund manager who manage the fund. In the next slide, I want to show you that this is a long-term public policy. We started with the first program in 1997, and since then we have been refining and modifying the programs to focus them more on innovative projects and entrepreneurship. At the beginning, the idea was to create an industry, to have managers and to have investors dealing with the capabilities to deal with this new asset class. But as the time passes, we have been modifying, as I already told you, the programs to be more oriented towards innovative projects. And since 2012, we have, and 14, we have three main programs that I wanted to show you in the next slide. The first program that are the main programs to support the venture capital funds that we have. The first one is what we call FET. This is a programs that offer to the venture capital funds a credit line up to $3 per each dollar of a private investor. This is a program focused on venture capital funds that invest in early stage entrepreneurship, with the maximum sales of that companies around $370,000, and with a maximum age of 30 months measured since the first invoice. The second one is the FT. This is a program that offer a credit line, again, to the venture capital funds, up to 2-to-1, means $2 per $1 of private investor, for funds that invest in entrepreneurship with sales not greater than $3.7 million in annual terms, and with a maximum equity of 1.8 million. I mean, the equity of the company. As you can see on the left picture, the FT actually can invest in companies that the FET invest. Okay, it's more flexible in that sense. In this case, the maximum amount of the credit line is 12 million. In the case of the FET, is $10 million. So the maximum amount that the CORFO gives to the fund is the 10 and $12 million. And finally, we have the FC, which gives a credit line, or offer a credit line in a relationship one-to-one with the private money. So it means $1 of the credit of CORFO and $1 of the private investor. The maximum amount of the credit line here is around $20 million, and the fund can invest in companies with sales not greater than $22 million. And this is for, in general, for companies that are in a process of consolidation or in a process of internationalization. You have, you can consider here that you have different funds that are focused on different stages of the development of the companies. You have the FET that is more focused on early stage companies. You have FT that, even though they have the flexibility, you can understand that they are more focused on intermediate size of company, and you have the FC that are more focused on more consolidated companies. What are, in terms of results of our policy, our long-term policy, here you can see the rank provided by the Latin American Venture Capital Association. This is the rank of Latin American of the Latin American Association, and we are ranked. We have been continuously ranked #1 in the region in terms of private equity and venture capital environment. The rank measured different aspects of the venture capital ecosystem. And one thing that we have to mention here is that we are ranked #1. One of the issues clearly is the, if you see the x-axis, is the size of our industry. We have been modifying our programs to resolve this issue, to increase the size of the market. We need more venture capital funds. And today we have some figures. We have been funding 46 venture capital funds. We have more than $900 million in credit lines approved. Sorry, it's 46 fund manager companies, no? And 62 investment funds, and more than 350 companies invested by those funds. And we have amount of still available for funding new entrepreneurship. Just to give you an idea of the companies that are funded by the capital funds in Chile, you have, for example, Burn to Give, that give donation based on physical activity of employees of a company. You have Levita Magnetics, who provide a magnetic grasper to make the surgery less invasive. You have Baby Tuto, which is an e-commerce which sells product for kids. And you have, for example, Ciperi, who developed a machine to manage the stock in the retail companies. And we have different companies that the funds are invested, but this is just an idea. In terms of the companies, as you can see here, we are increasing the entrepreneurship that the funds are investing on. On an average, we are adding 22 new companies per year to the ecosystem, the venture capital ecosystem. In terms of the company, in terms of the funds that are funding those companies, by far, you can see that the current funds, I mean, the funds that are working with the current programs, the FC, the FT, and the FET, provide more than the rest of the older programs. And one thing to see here is that the funds that are working with the FT that I have already mentioned to you it's by far the one that provide more beneficiaries or invest in more companies in Chile. What happened with the sector? In the next slide, I'm going to show you how the sector in which the venture capital invest evolved through the years. At the beginning, they invest in what we can consider less innovative entrepreneurship, and as the time passed, they were investing in more innovative entrepreneurship. We have to consider at the beginning, the idea was to create a venture capital industry, to have an investor, to have management companies. So we cannot ask too much at the beginning. But here you can see how, as the time passed, how they were increasing the innovation level of their investment, and also diversifying in terms of sector where they were investing. And also, I wanted to show you what happened. I mean, that's clearly one question: what happened in this period, in the period of COVID? You can see that the funds, if you compare in terms of company first on the left side, that the funds are continuing investing during this period. In terms of company, they have increased the number of investment, and in terms of amount that they are investing, it's more or less similar to the same period of 2019. In terms of companies in this period, you can see that IT, food industry, and energy sector represent more than 50% of the investment in this period, in the last year, and but also there are investment in other sectors that the funds are doing. One question that could arise here is where the fund can invest. There are four types, I would say. The first one is that the fund that should be established in Chile can invest in companies established in Chile. The second one is that the fund can invest in a headquarter of a company abroad with the commitment to transfer that investment to finance an operation in Chile. That's the second alternative of investment. The third one is that, and in order to allow the fund to follow the development of the company, the fund can invest in a headquarter of the company in the process of internationalization of a Chilean company. So it started as a Chilean company, and then in order to have more access to a broader market, or to have more visibility to different investors, they move abroad. And the fund, in this case, can continue investing in the company abroad. And the fourth one, and the fourth alternative, is that and this is a new change that we have introduced in our programs, is that the fund can invest in companies with no connection with Chile. The amount, in this case, that the fund can invest correspond to the excess of equity over what is required to access to the maximum credit line in any of the programs. Say, for example, if the fund applies to the FC programs, which has as a maximum credit line $20 million, to obtain that maximum credit line, the fund needs to have $20 million in private investor. But what happens if they have not 20, they have $30 million? So the $10 million, they can, I mean, the fund can invest it abroad in companies with no relation necessarily with Chile. So so the funds have 4 ways to invest, and that's complete the alternative of investment of the funds. All of the presentation that I show you, I think that in general, things that I wanted to stress is that first one, this is a long-term public policy carried by CORFO. It doesn't change with the different governments. Also, there are interesting results that you have seen in terms of the ranking, in terms of the new investment of the funds, and the amount of venture capital funds that they are already working in Chile. And I also wanted to invite you to know more about our programs. You have already here Angeles Romo regarding our entrepreneurship public policy, and now you know more about our public policy to foster the venture capital industry. And if you want to know more about our programs, you can just send us an email, and we are happy to give you more information. Thank you very much.
Luis, thank you. Excellent.
Thanks.
I'll go jump in.
Thanks.
Q&A.
Luis, thanks a lot, Luis Felipe.
Go ahead. Luis, a quick question. By the way, excellent presentation. And hopefully we can get that shared to some of us English speakers as well. And we really do appreciate your overview. And I also want to say on behalf of the Genesis Ventures folks and Oxbridge Capital Partners, we're so excited to be moving forward and doing our first investments with CORFO. Very, very excited about that. I think for the general audience, I know that the 3 programs have expandability, which I would love to hear a little bit of your elaboration on that. For instance, if we took, for example, the FT program, which is a 2-to-1 program with a maximum line of 12 million US, based upon the current conversion rate, right? But as I understand it, once we invest 50% through the line, it expands to a 3-to-1 ratio, and then the top side is like 19-20 million US. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more eloquently than I just did? Thank you.
That's one thing that I didn't mention in the presentation, but it's in our programs. The possibility to increase the leverage based on the performance of the funds. You have to show that you have already invested the credit line that we approve. I mean, the 50. You have to have at least 50% invested, and you have to apply for the increase in the leverage. And there is a committee who review the investment, what is the relationship with, how has been the relationship with the entrepreneurship, and you can access definitely to this additional leverage. So in the case of the FC, you can move from a leverage 1-to-1 to 1.5-to-1, and in the case of the FT, you can move from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1, and in the case of the FET, you can move from a leverage 3-to-1 to up to almost 4. It's 3.9 to 1, the leverage, the new leverage.
Thank you, Luis. We're getting a couple questions. They're related, so I'll fold them into one simple question, and you can just provide some general guidelines. The questions are for the capital allocation. Once a startup has received CORFO funds, let's say it's a United Kingdom startup, it's a foreign company, and we know that the program's expanded. It doesn't have to have any Chilean interests, but in the traditional sense, how much capital, let's say, we'll make it easy. Let's say $1 million US was invested through CORFO into a UK startup that is intended to also set up enterprise in Santiago, Chile, for instance. How much capital needs to flow between the foreign part of the company and the Chilean part of the company? Does it need to be 50-50? How much is that measured? What kind of business activities are you looking for if CORFO grants an investment into like a United Kingdom company? What kind of business interests need to be established in Chile? Just some general guidelines there.
Okay, as already mentioned, you have 4 ways of investing. You are mentioned the second one. If I don't remember, let me see.
Yeah, the second one's like a foreign
investment. Yeah, the second one.
Yeah.
You can invest in British companies using the second way or the fourth one. Now, if you apply using the second way, you have to transfer all the money that you invest in the British company to run the business operation in Chile. Okay, and if you apply if you are using the fourth way, there's no requirement that of money coming back to Chile. So, for example, if you are using the second one, and the fund established here in Chile invest $2 million, the British company has to invest afterwards $2 million in a company here to run the business.
Thank you. That's very helpful. And through the process, if a UK or US company, they say, well, I'd like to, is there a separate application process to do method 2 or method 4, or is that just a verbal acknowledgement with CORFO? How do they determine to do that? Is this something that they speak to CORFO about, and there's a separate application process, or how is that officiated?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's not the company that applied to us. It's we act as a second-tier development bank. We don't have the relationship in this. I mean, in terms of this program, we don't have the relationship with the entrepreneur, and it's the fund manager who applies, who requests the disbursement of the credit line to us, and it's the fund manager who decide in the same. It's going to be in the same. I mean, we're using the same document that it's going to to declare or to tell us that he's applying using the second alternative or the fourth alternative.
Thank you. That's very helpful. They're very, very clear. We really do appreciate that. Any questions from our panelists for Luis? I was trying to capture the ones in the Q&A session and popped in another one myself.
Steve, here,
yes.
Andres. To Maria de Los Angeles and Luis Felipe, how it works, the relationship between Startup Chile and the investment team in CORFO?
Yes, well, thank you, Andres, for the question. I guess it's really important. As you can see, all of you guys, what we have in Chile is a very close ecosystem, very consolidated ecosystem. We have been working on this for the last probably 20 years. The first public policy about venture capital and entrepreneurship and innovation was about 20 years ago. What is happening nowadays is probably we are very, very close. We are working very together, actually, with the management of Luis Felipe and Startup Chile as a management of CORFO as well. We are very, very focused on the same big objective, if you want. Luis Felipe is attending from the money, the funds who are able to have the money to invest. And we from Startup Chile are pushing from the entrepreneur side. So what we are doing is doing a game together. We are pushing in different orientation, but in the same focus on the same objectives. So what we are doing here is working very close, but also is working with the private sector. Actually, we have a very close relationship with the ACBC, Association of Venture Capital in Chile, and a CAFI as well, because we need to be very close to the ecosystem and what the entrepreneurs and also the venture capital funds or administrators are thinking about what we are doing in the public policy or the public sector. So actually, we are really open also to receive your feedback from the ecosystem, from the market, on how we can enhance or be a better public policy as well.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts about the relationship, between Startup Chile and CORFO, and basically this program, and in particular this program. First, we are in the same ecosystem. We cannot have or want to have venture capital funds if we don't have deal flow, and you will not have deal flow if you don't have investors. So we need to work together, and we have been working together. Actually, the programs that were started to be more focused on entrepreneurship started after 2012, and Startup Chile started in 2010. And also we have a relationship with Innovate and with the innovation division here in Chile, in CORFO, at CORFO. We started to also to promote or to focus our programs in innovation after a public policy started on innovation. So we need to work together, definitely. Also, and finally, there is a Startup Chile. It's an important deal flow, a provider for our venture capital funds. All the venture capital funds are connected to Startup Chile. And more than 20% or all of the investment in the venture capital funds are coming from Startup Chile.
Really excited to hear about that, because as an outsider investing into Chile, we really see Startup Chile as a potential deal flow engine for us. And so we're also looking to be able to bring our cross-sector expertise is kind of like, kind of call mentoring and shepherding of these early stage startups, where we can bring the best of United Kingdom and the United States down into Chile to help these founders, not just with money, but with human capital, guiding them, helping them through their milestones. A lot of the failures because of inexperience, not because of money. So we are really excited about bringing some of that experience down into Chile, and I'm excited to just jump into that pool with all these early stage startups down there. I can hardly wait.
Yep. Thank you so much, everyone. We're about on time. So I really appreciate the presentations, the insights that you gave us. All the Q&As that we had are very important for the audience, because a lot of people connected today are from abroad, from Europe, from LATAM as a whole. So it's very interesting to have the key players answering the questions. So it's so relevant. Thank you so much. Remember, the next Friday is the final session of this 5-session series that we have been having so far at 3 o'clock UK time. And we're going to close next Friday, the 23rd, with practical cases. Companies that have been raising capital from Cambridge and are going here to Chile, from the US and so forth, or people who want to scale up from Chile or LATAM outside their own boundaries. So it's very important. If you have the time, you're more than welcome. Thank you so much, Maria de Los Angeles and Luis Felipe, for your time. And thank you, everyone, for attending and being very active in this Q&A session. I really appreciate it.
Guillermo, thank you very much to you and all the team, and congratulations for this program. I guess it's really important to know a little bit more about venture capital and entrepreneurship and why this is important for the world. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you, Luis Felipe.
Thank you for the invitation also.
See you.
Bye-bye.